Call to order Village of Milan workshop, Wednesday, August 11th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, Mayor Pro Tem Brumlow,
Present.
Trustee Baca,
Present.
Trustee Lopez,
Present.
Trustee Archuleta is absent. Prayer and the pledge. Mayor Pro Tem Brumlow, would you do the prayer and Trustee Baca do the pledge?
Our Heavenly Father, as we come here tonight, we ask that you help us to make the right decisions for our village. Watch over our first responders, the troops, and all of our elderly. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens to address the board. Yes, sir.
You're first.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just make sure there's nobody else. Hi, trustees and mayor and citizens of the village. My name's Scott Gray, and there's an ongoing drainage concern at the property of 200 Sand Street here in Milan. I have spoke with everyone except for Roseanne Lopez. I don't think I've met you yet and talked to you. Concerning they vacated an actual drain in the street, and the fix was supposed to be a bar ditch, and currently the bar ditch is full and the property has water on it also at the same time. At the time frame they took out the drain, I called Jack Malaris and met with him, and we spoke on you removed infrastructure before you had a replacement set for that drain. That drain's always been under that road. And he told me that that drain had collapsed and was no longer good. So I go, okay, well, are you going to replace it? He says, no, not at this time. We're not going to replace it. I said, well, we have no way to drain the property. So he came up with the idea to put in a bar ditch. And at that time, Sarah was still your city manager, and I was speaking with her. They put in a bar ditch. It hadn't rained yet. When they put in the bar ditch, they took away 2 points of access that's been on that property since I've been here, which was on the corner of Sand and Lava, and then a gate that we have on a fence. So then I had to speak with her to try to get a culvert put in. And I was told, are you going to pay for the culvert? I said, I didn't put in the bar ditch. And finally, after speaking with Denise, she got a hold of someone and they put in the culvert where we have access to where the fence was at. So then it rained, and I have photos and pictures of the property in the back where it floods up into the property. So then I came down again and spoke with Denise, and I said, well, it's rained. And at that time, you no longer had Sarah here, and I put in a call to Felix, who returned my call on a Friday. And I was informed the following Monday he was going to have a meeting and get back with me. Monday came, no phone call. I waited a week. I called the following Monday and asked to leave Felix a message, and they said he's in meetings all day. He'll get out at 1. So I go, okay, but just leave him a message that I called. So Monday went by, no phone call. Tuesday morning, I call again. I ask if I could speak to the mayor, who's the acting city manager, and I get told, okay, he's in his office. Let us transfer you at 11 a.m. It goes to voicemail. I leave a message. I don't hear back. Wednesday, I decided to put in a call to Ellen Baca, who responded to me and showed up at the site with Vivian Brumbelow, and they looked at the site, discussed it. They had some other things going on in the village, and we had a talk about it. The next night, or that same night, I take it back. I put in a phone call to Chris Archuleta. He understood where it was at. He was at a baseball game at the time, and that he would go by and take a look at it. I've never spoken to you yet, but if you go to that property, there's actually, you can see the cut that they made in the road to remove the drain. So currently we have a bar ditch that when it rains is full of water. Property's full of water, and you basically have standing water there. That's gonna breed mosquitoes and basically keep putting mud and silt on the parking lot and not make it worth anything anymore. So that's why I was here for the planning work session, to see if there is something in the works, or do I have to go to your city council meeting? And I mean, like, where do I go from here to get answers? Because basically the property doesn't drain.
Okay, when you called me, we placed a call to the company that did the work there, and Eric came and surveyed, and he said that it was what we should do is to do the bar ditch a little bit deeper. So they did. I spoke with Joe Ray, and I don't remember how many days after that. He went and dug it deeper, but apparently it's not deep enough, and there's got to be, I don't know what the solution would be, other than to cut to Sand Street, or I don't know what it would, what the other solution would be, because I did.
I mean, I'm not shooting it with a level, but if you're standing there and looking at Sand Street is almost taller than the ditch that you have.
Yeah, well,
At the time frame that you guys had the road cut, there was no parking lot at your park. I asked the same question that I would ask now. Why didn't you put PVC all the way to the hole you have in that park that's the size of a football field, and we would never have a drainage problem? But I was told that's not gonna match the elevations on the other side for the parking lot. But at the time I asked this, they could have put it under the parking lot. But Jack said that's not what the engineers want. But the engineer plan is on that side of the street. That drain was there long before the engineers showed up. If they didn't know that drain was there, they should have addressed it.
mhm.
There's no way you couldn't know it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the road. So,
They had to cut the street out to remove it.
right. And then I was told it's collapsed and it's not going to be replaced. So, yeah, that's back when I told them, well, what are you going to do to fix it? When you remove infrastructure, you usually have the new in place before you remove the old, like a sewer line. But that didn't happen in this case. It was kind of a whoops afterwards. And now we decided to go cut a bar ditch. And a bar ditch is fine, but if a bar ditch isn't deep enough to remove all the water off the property and then start draining down the road, and the property's clean of water, then it's not good. I mean, you're just going to have a bar ditch that continues to silt up, and we're going to be doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
So,
When that was, I don't know, when the engineers, when they did the park and all that, we had, I didn't have a clue, I didn't know.
I mean, you live a half a block away
Yeah.
from what we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand that, and I know what you're saying, but I didn't have an idea as to what they were doing. It's not.
Well, I don't know, that's pretty big expense you guys put into that park.
Can I ask what the address is again?
It's 200 Sand Street is my building, but the drainage and the bar ditch that you cut is actually on lava.
Okay, so your address is Sand Street. Do you have access from Sand Street?
Sand Street, but it's been that way forever. You've had access at the back of that property since I've been here, since 94. You've had access there when my father-in-law bought it, when it used to be a car wash. I don't know what year you bought it, but you've always had 3 points of access. You had access on that front corner, and when you dug a bar ditch, you took that access away. So now we're down to 1 point of access that's in the front.
There's only one.
Well, other than where you put the little culvert mud thing that you guys put in there, but that's another one that got vacated until I kept saying, can I get a culvert to get to the back of that lot?
So the only fix that we're really gonna be able to give him is to cut into that road and
That's
put
right.
drainage across the road.
That's right.
So if we,
And I think this should go to Wilson, and they should fix it. They should have seen the problem before they knew that there was a drain there. They should have figured out how to replace it He's right. I have the pictures of it if you want to see it.
Well, Eric was made aware of that. You know, I called Eric and I told him all about that. And so I don't know.
Well, I went by there on Monday and saw the standing water and looked at it and everything, and I know it can't drain to Sand Street. There's no way.
I mean, like I said, I'm not shooting it with a level, but you can physically see that Sand Street is higher.
Right.
And I think originally when the village put the drain that was there, like I said, before he even bought the property, it was because they raised the road lava. And when they raised the road lava, that parking lot couldn't drain. So they put a drain under it to drain into the old park. But when you reshot it, your elevations are way up where you pull off the road level to get into the parking lot. So the drain could have still been in there, but way down under the road to it when I was bringing that up to Jack at the time. So
Yeah, I saw that. Can you show me? That was how they took the drain out.
See, there's where they kept the drain out right there.
Is there some way we could get a
Yeah,
hold
they
of
took it out.
Wilson to?
That's where they had to patch the road. And you said it was a brand new road. Well, they tore it up to begin with
And
to
you
get that
can
drain out.
just call him.
But you had already contacted Eric?
Yeah, I did. I
No, it's
contacted him,
right
but
straight across from the
um,
parking spot.
I don't know.
And it goes, and see is what he's talking about is
So did
this here,
Eric
watch.
say why they took the drain out?
No, he just said that he had come down, because I asked him, he said he came down and
Right, well, let me show you
he
here.
shut it, and he said that it's,
Yeah, but there was the drain that went across
according to
and they
specs, the
tore
road
up
is
the new road to
the
take it
way
out.
should be, lava and everything else.
So they can tear it up again and fix it and fix the drain right, because that ditch isn't going nowhere.
but anyway, that's why I figured I'd come to the
And they
workshop.
need to
I
redo
mean,
the,
you're the
they
only
should
one that I
redo the
haven't
culvert too.
like physically talked to and called on the phone, but like I said, if you're gonna go the route of a bar ditch, they leach and they set him up over time. But you might want to have them give you something in writing that it's gonna drain, because it doesn't.
And why they did it.
So I actually have Wilson scheduled to come in to do a presentation on the soccer field at the regular meeting. I can ask them to address that as well.
They can
And that's
address
at your
how to
next
fix
meeting?
it.
That'll be next Thursday.
Because I don't know. I just go to who I think I should get the answers from. And okay, thanks for your time.
Thank
you.
Mr. Gray.
Nice to see everybody today.
How are you
10:57 a.m. today, the pool motor finally went out.
Mm.
I'm impressed that the pool has been, it's 26 years now that the pool's been running. So the 29th, yeah, it's 26 years. That Friday, we gave 25-cent day just to celebrate, commemorate the day that 26 years. And then on Saturday, we had the triathlon. I think it turned out really well. Now, leading up to this, I was kind of a little leery on how long this pool, the system was going to last. And today, like I said, it finally went out. Now, there's been ongoing problems, and I do have it recorded on my iPad. Now, I'd like everybody to see it, but I don't think right now is the time. But yet, even if you come to the pool, I can show you these issues. Now, one of them is in the main surge tank, and what happens there is when people get in the pool, there's a tank in the pump room that fills up and it balances out. So when you have like 70 people get in, the water raises up, it fills in, it levels out. But one of the main pipes that comes in from the pool has a leak. And when that happens, people get in, water starts coming back out and going into the drains. So that's been an ongoing problem. We have to backwash the water out so it doesn't go into the drains. Now, we lose about 200 gallons of water every time we backwash. So that's just one problem. We have it's called a strainer tank. And inside the strainer tank, there is a strainer, and it catches everything that comes through, anything that can be harmful to the impeller. Now, what's happened there is this thing is just rusted out. So I also got videos of that. Every time we change this strainer, it's a chore because we have a valve that doesn't work, and it can actually fill up that the tank there. So it's been an ongoing problem. Last week I changed the nuts on there. It was a problem. So this thing is probably about $2,000. Okay, the last item that happened today was the motor. And so about 2 years ago, we had 2 water leaks. And one of the water leaks had shot water into the pit that held the motor. And the water level had reached the moving parts of the motor. So it was actually underwater. And that morning when I came in, it was still running. So when the maintenance men were called, I just left the motor running just because I figured if you're going to shut that off, it probably won't start again. So good thing to do. When the maintenance men came in, they drained it, pumped it full of grease. It's been running ever since. But I tell you, from that point on, it's been making a lot of noise, funny noises. And this morning when I came in, it had a high squeal to it. So I figured something was going to happen sooner or later. And like I said, 10:57 a.m. this morning, it finally went out. So along with all this, you got components there. You also have a filter tank. And that tank, if you are up on your maintenance, you should be, it should be maintenance once a year. It's silica sand. It's like the same sand that they use to sandblast. Now, I've asked Bill quite a few questions on the system since he was the person in charge of taking all that. The sand filter hasn't been changed in about 8 years. So right now what's happening, or what was happening, is you have a certain layer, maybe halfway where the tank is, half full, that sand has compacted down to the point to where it's probably cement right now. So it's not doing an efficient job. And it takes about 100 pounds of sand to fill that up. But at this point now, I think we're ready to change. So with all these little things, and there's a lot more, but these were the 3 most important issues that I've been actually watching. And in the past, when I took this job, I knew it was going to be a chore. So I was a little reluctant to do it. And when I finally took the position, I was there like 5 days a week. Up to this point, I've been going in checking on the pool 7 days a week. Now, it's not that I don't mind doing it. It's just preventing what was eventually going to happen, and that happened today. So along with the roof, which I guess it's going to be voted on or approved of whatever, we need to spend some money on this system. And I figure if I calculated everything right, probably about $10,000 to outfit everything. Rather than just put in a new motor, I feel it's just good to just change everything out. Now, I called the mayor earlier and told him the situation. I said, it'd be a good idea to close today. So he approved that. And I don't know if you got my text. I send you the information on the motor number and whatever. I gave somebody something. But, it's been an ongoing problem. And it's good and yet it's bad, just for the fact that it was going to go down anyway. But I'm kind of glad it went down now rather than doing the triathlon, rather doing any other time. So with all that said, like I said, I do have it on my iPad. And if you're interested to look at it and see where we're at with all this, it might be a good idea to get in your mind this pool is 26 years old. And it's about time with water. You have leaks, you have corrosion, you have rust, and that's all down there. So with everything that's said and done, I hope I kind of enlightened you a bit. But I think if you saw my what I recorded on my iPad, it'll probably give you a little bit more of an eye opener on where we're at with the pool situation. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Lynn, for that notice. And figuring the budget.
Okay, now, when Lynn called today and this, we discussed it, and I told him, we're 3 weeks, at the most a month away from starting. So I said, maybe we should close it down until we, until we get the money to repair it, and we'll have time, because if we repair it now, it's gonna stay closed anyway, so, you know, if we change it out, we repair whatever we're doing, we're gonna do it, it's gonna stay
Major
closed
repairs.
until all the construction is done with the pool, so we have time for that.
I think it should all get done. I agree.
Is that okay with everybody?
That's fine. Yeah, I think it has to be.
Yeah, that's one of the main things. Yeah. Mhm.
And we're looking for around 10,000 to cover the three things that you talked about?
Yes, we'll probably have to get a pool company to come in.
Yeah, and
Give us an actual quote, because, so state procurement, we can't just say, oh, it's gonna be 10,000 budgeted, it doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
we'll have to get in, contractor that can fix it. They'll have to give us all the quotes, find all of the things that need to be fixed to bring it up to code, because when we change that, it's gonna change code. So
Well, then Lynn can get you the list of everything.
So we'll work on that. I don't think that, I think it's gonna be it'll be closer to probably 20,000 by the time we get the work done. It's gonna be a big fix. Me and Denise kind of looked at it a little bit today, and it's gonna be a big fix.
Well, this is the only swimming pool for about 60 miles all the way around.
Right. And I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done. We have to figure out where we're gonna cut if we're gonna do this.
Is there some way that a joint powers agreement could be done with the city of Grants and the county? You know how we pay for the library? Is there, because everybody uses the pool.
Right.
Is there some way we could get funding from those entities to cover, to have
Can
in
reach
our?
out. Yeah,
Huh?
we can reach out. We can also look into, we did get the American Rescue Plan funding. I don't know if this is something that qualifies in there. It's
Oh,
not,
it's
no, because it's
recreation.
recreation, so that won't help us, but we'll, me and Denise will start putting feet on the ground, see if we can't figure out something. In the meantime, we'll,
You can check for grants.
yeah, we'll see about finding somebody who can at least give us a good solid quote on what it's gonna cost to repair everything that needs to be repaired.
Yeah.
There's no better time than when they're gonna be working on the roof anyway.
Yeah. And like I said, we got time to get it done and get it done right, and instead of rushing through things. The other thing was, Wanda, and there's two other than him, than Lynn, employees there, so it's Wanda, and what's the other guy's name? Lynn?
Marvin Platero.
Marvin? Is it Marvin? Wanda and the other, the other gentleman. Well, the permanent ones, it's, because Jolene asked me today, this afternoon, and so Wanda is, she's gonna start on the recreation, and recreation just about ready to start anyway, so, in order to keep them and not to do anything out, other than that, she's already got, things that she's going to start doing for recreation. And, the other one is going to be, well, I don't know if it's gonna be, but it's gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna be, but it's gonna be, 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 it's if he wants, that's an option for him to, it's his decision. Transfer to the street department temporarily until, just so he has a job and he will be paid out of the pool uh, budget, the pool fund, but he will be with the street department, street and water department until the pool is going again, then he can go back to the pool. But just so he keeps a job, and now that was the decision I made today, and if everybody's okay with that, we can stick with that for now.
That's in the two Alyssas, were they part-time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both part-time, and when I talked to Rhonda about it today, she said that there was, she has enough to keep them on their part-time hours
Oh, okay.
With the recreation.
with recreation. They have some mom and tot stuff coming up, and they're gonna make it work so that we don't have to lay off any employees.
And the part-time's only here for 4 hours a day, right? Or
Mm,
20 hours a week?
I think it's a little, it depends on the week. But yeah, the mom and tots is gonna be 3 days a week, I think. And then the other program, I'm not sure how many days that is, but they're working on putting it together. And we will pay them out of the pool budget because that's where they're budgeted.
Okay, any other discussions? Anything else we need to discuss?
I have a couple of questions, a few, actually. Who is spraying for the mosquitoes?
Two companies that are spraying for mosquitoes. PDI sprays the parks as well as around all the buildings. And then we pay a company in the summer called Road Runner, and they spray all the parks, baseball fields, and we just added the school, I believe.
The school, and they're treating the water at Mirbach.
They're not treating the water at Petro on Motel Drive.
I do not believe so. I don't know.
They need to add that because that's and well, they have the pond at the school, they have the pond at Maribel Park, and then they have the pond on Motel Drive. And
The one at Maribel Park, they've done it. I don't know about the
Yeah,
others, but
that one,
I know.
I added that one when we did the construction,
Yeah.
so that one's.
But
been
the
added,
one
but
at
I don't
the
know if
on
they-
Motel Drive, it's going away. I was there yesterday and it's draining.
okay,
It's draining
well,
from
maybe they need to spray extra or something because I'm covered in mosquito bites.
So they don't do the community, right?
Yeah,
They do the entire community, so they drive around with the back of the truck sprayer. It's a fogger, I guess, is what they call it.
maybe they need to make an extra lap.
We can request
Because
that.
it's, I mean, they're bad. They're bad.
Do you know how often they're spraying? Is it once a week or?
I believe I'm looking at an email right here. He treats it at the same time he does ground, so it is once a week.
Is it in the late evening? Because I've never seen their truck. I don't think.
Yeah, they drive around late in the afternoons, evenings.
Mm.
And then, I don't know if you ever noticed, sometimes there's a four-wheeler going around the parks. That's him as well. It looks like there's a plastic man on the back. It's a tank.
Are we gonna build a Loomis this year for the pumpkin patch?
We don't have material, and we don't have much of a crew. So the crew that we do have has never done it before. I don't know if you guys want to contract it out. With the cost of wood right now,
Do we wanna do Loomis?
and then we're
Well, I
gonna
could
do
donate a
the,
lot of junk for you to burn in.
we're gonna have, the event at Maribel Park, so where would we do this?
Do we know what day that is?
October 22nd, the weekend before Halloween.
October 22nd?
I think I feel that with no crew and the cost of everything, that this year we'll just have to skip Loomis.
Yeah, because the lumber's expensive.
Yes.
Crazy.
They don't donate anymore. Are we gonna put anything on the agenda to look at our applications for our jobs? Are we gonna have a closed session next week?
That's up to you. I don't see the applications. I don't know what the
You want a
process.
closed session?
I
where
do.
we're at.
Which one?
I will, for the manager,
Oh, yeah.
we need to get that.
Do we
need to-
have,
We have,
We do have some,
we do,
oh, okay.
and I think we do need a closed session as soon as possible.
We need to move
You
on.
guys want to request it? I will put that on the agenda.
Okay,
For the fall fiesta or on October 22nd, are there going to be booths?
Yes, there will be booths. We do not charge. There won't be any power. Unfortunately, there's no plugs at
Okay.
Mirabel.
they
There's
have to
one
bring their
plug.
own generator.
They just need to get a
So
hold
they
of
can
you?
bring their own. Yes.
Okay.
And October 23rd, I'm sorry, 22nd is a Friday. So the 23rd.
At Mirabel Park, right?
Yes.
And I
And I will go ahead and start advertising that.
okay, that's mainly what I had on here.
Okay.
And let's do the mosquitoes, they're killing me.
And I think for the parking, if it becomes kind of a problem at Riverwalk Park, you can ask
The school has agreed that
at
we
St.
can use that.
Vivian's. They got a
Yeah.
big parking lot
Mhm.
and it's just a little walkway from the park.
Yeah.
Right.
And the school too.
And the school
And
too.
the
yes.
school,
School's
yeah.
agreed to that.
So that won't be
I
a
was
problem.
thinking that if we have the car show, the school would be a good place to put the car show.
We could do that, or we could do it in the park at Mirabel Park. The parking lot there would be for the car show, and then we'll just
Without-
close off that whole street.
Either way,
Mhm.
And then they can just come across from the
Yeah, they
school.
can park at the school, and we'll just have.
There's
maybe some
plenty of
cones
parking
set
at
up.
the school.
Okay.
I don't think they'll fill that up. They do it for the soccer. So. Okay. That's it.
So on your agenda, we have a letter to TBK. This does not need a vote. It's actually, if you guys want to go ahead and approve it tonight. This is allowing Candy to change the bank accounts as needed. So there's some stuff she's gonna have to close out, some transfers, stuff like that, that she's not able to do right now that she needs to do in order for us to stay stable financially. So this letter that is in your packet there is to allow her to do that.
I think it's just right, yeah.
I think we should allow it.
Yeah.
She needs to have
So I
access
will
to that.
need one copy signed by everyone.
Okay.
And then the organizational chart, the auditor recommended we get that going with or without a manager. We need to have that in place or it is going to be a finding.
A
If
what?
it's not already. The organizational chart, that's the blue. And if you guys want to make changes, now would be the time. We'll vote on that next week.
I have a question on the IT director and that. Is that under the police department? The human,
No. So if you
how
see the
does that,
lines.
how does it work?
If you see the lines, they come from the village manager and finance director out. So they oversee all of these drop downs.
Oh, okay, okay. I see.
Let's see. We will have a resolution for budget adjustment, and I believe Candy's attached a bunch of bars for you to look at, the budget report.
I was gonna ask you what's a bar. Budget bar. And does that have a bunch of figures?
So the actual bar is gonna be about 4 pages. I figured we'd put it up here so you guys could talk about it tonight, so it doesn't take up so much time during the meeting, the meetings can get crazy. So, that's why I haven't put it in there. The first.
I don't have that. We have this one.
Oh, okay. So that's what, this one. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what we did, what the bar is gonna be for this next week, Michael has been excellent at putting it together. He's setting us up to succeed is what he's doing. So, when I came into finance, we were operating on the interim budget, that was uploaded to LGBMS by Sarah. What's happened is they didn't match exactly, is the
Which
best
one
way
is
to
she
put that.
using?
So when we voted to accept the final budget, we did based on what was in LGBMS,
The
which
bars?
is great because that's the state budget that's going to get approved by the state.
Mhm.
So what we're doing with these bars is some of them, and when you guys see the bars, and I can get them to you whenever you want, you can come by my office, we can talk about it, and then they'll be in your packets on Monday as well. There's 4 pages. The first page is all actual increase or decrease to the budget. There was some things that were in LGBMS that were not in our Tyler. They were kind of what we would call fluff. We don't want fluff. We want every penny accounted for, where it's going, how it's going to be spent. So that's the first page. The second page is just going to be account reclassifications. When I think it's been a common practice that they merge all of the say supplies, if there's field supplies or clothing supplies or cleaning supplies. For Tyler, what they're doing is merging all those supplies together in LGBMS. So what Michael and I did was go through LGBMS, and if there was an option for clothing supplies, we broke that out so that when we pull our budget versus detail and we pull our recap for LGBMS, we can go line by line and compare budgets and make sure we're on track. So almost all of the budgets on the last three, or adjustments on the last 3 page, are just that. They're just changing where they need to be. And then the final page, the departmental changes, that transit and one of the other departments has an operations and an administration. In LGBMS, they were all combined into one. We had the option to separate them into operations and administration, so that's what those bars are going to do. So it's really just cleanup, basically cleaning up so that everything is in tune on both sides. Make it easier when we go to report.
So these are cutting down the accounts at TDK, the different accounts? Is that what it,
No, this is just this is the budget. Sorry, the bars are for your LGBMS and your Tyler. So that's just our operating funding. This isn't going to change anything with the bank accounts. The reason we are requesting that is because we are starting to close accounts and put them into our general operating fund, and then moving towards pooled cash. We signed that contract yesterday.
Okay, so we will also have a resolution for agreement and the designation of an authorized agent or employee for our new capital outlay grant. This one is the $40,000 for the water meter upgrades. So we did receive that. It'll be on the agenda for vote. We need a voting delegate and alternate for the annual conference. I believe Mayor Pro Tem is going, Trustee Baca is going, and Trustee Lopez are going. So one of you is a voting delegate, one of you is an alternate.
you want to vote?
So
Let's
we'll,
let Roseanne do it since she's new.
we'll do that at the regular
Okay.
meeting, so you guys have some time to think
Okay.
about it.
Okay,
Wilson and Company is coming to
Get her feet
do
wet.
a presentation on the soccer field. That actually went out for bid yesterday. We're hoping to have bids in time to grant them out by next Thursday.
is that for the,
That's soccer field. So that'll be the concession, the storage, and the restroom facility with all the plumbing, electrical.
are we doing the
Sewage.
sod at Kearns, or are they,
Yes, that's another one. So the sod at Kearns, we received that grant on Monday. It's signed and ready to go. I've been reaching out for quotes. Right now, I have quotes on the sod. I'm looking for someone to install it. The companies that sell the sod, unfortunately, are not able to install. So we're looking for someone to do a small contract just for installation. I don't think our guys can do it just because they're spread so thin already. And that needs to be done
are the mowers not
as soon as
working?
we get it.
Wasn't there a gentleman, North Cordy or something that did?
Willie Valdez,
Nowadays?
but he's working at the college and I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, he has a full-time job at the college now.
So if
Okay.
you guys know of anyone, give me their number, I can reach out and let them know what we're doing and give them the site plans that we have so that they know what it entails.
Maybe we
Everything
could
is
call-
set. They just have to set the sod on top.
So could
Maybe
you
we could
check
call
on the
Corley and
mowers?
see if he
Why
has
they're not
anybody.
using the
that-
mowers?
Maybe
They
he
were
knows
using them. I know they've been doing odds and ends here and there. I know this last week they were cleaning that ditch. So for the last probably 4 days, they've been up on Berry Hill, cutting trees, hauling trees. It hasn't been done in about 3 years.
Mhm.
So I know that's where they've been the last few days.
Right.
But as far as I know,
Tires that were ordered for the wrong. Yeah, they were the wrong size in the front. Well, we had 2 sets ordered. One was they ordered back tires needed front tires, but they sent back tires when they were supposed to send back front tires, and I sent them back. We did get those fixed, and that mower was fixed, and then the other one that had, it's not the rim, it was the seal that goes at the hub part in the middle was gone, so it kept making the tires flat, and I think they got that all fixed now. So we did have 2 weeks where one or the other mowed.
Well, whoever mowed over here by the computer lab,
Mhm.
could you ask him to mow all the way to that fence? Don't leave those weeds standing out there.
Which fence?
It's the back fence over there. It's the property that Mr. Yates has, but it's our lot and it goes up to his fence. The weeds don't quit out here. They gotta go all the way to the fence.
We may have not known that that was our property.
We just have a lot of new workers, so they're learning quickly as they can, they're taking it.
Yeah, but I was wondering, cause they were out there working their butts off with weed eaters. It's like, where's the mowers?
Yeah.
Okay.
One more thing I have is, we're going to have an ICIP hearing. You guys, please attend if possible, right before the regular meeting on the 17th. I know we don't get a lot of input, but if you know anybody that has any input on projects, what they need, what our problem areas are. Yes,
And what time?
At 5?
Yeah.
next Thursday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
The 19th.
Next Thursday is our board, or is that before the board?
It'll be right
It'll be at
before the
5.
board meeting.
Okay.
And then our deadline for ICIP submission is on September 17th. We have a regular board meeting, I believe, on that date. But we're gonna need it a little sooner so
Should
we
we
can
have a
work the
special one?
numbers. So if you guys can set up a date where we can have a special meeting, preferably the week before. That gives us time to still work on it, but get it approved in time to turn it.
That's fine.
And I believe that is all I have. Unless anything comes up between now and Thursday.
There's no real wood to knock on.
Okay, if nothing else,
I have something.
yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Usually we do clean the scene twice a year. This year we did a small one with Mr. Windhorst. Is there any way we could work one in the 1st of October
Sure.
and
So,
get the dumpster for the tires and like we've always done?
yeah, not a problem.
Because I really think we need to do a big one.
So, Mr. Cabin did get that grant, so we can use that.
Yeah.
It's a reimbursement grant, so we'll have to spend the money and then get reimbursed for it. So we'll see where we're at on the budget and we can go ahead and start that.
Okay.
I can set them up. I don't usually run those, usually the code enforcer does, but I can definitely put a bug in his ear and see when he can get that going. So are we thinking the 2nd or the 9th? October,
Okay.
how early?
We get the second?
Probably the 9th.
The 9th of
9th?
October? 23rd.
Are they gonna do the pumpkin patches at the nerve ball park, right?
Right.
Are they still gonna do Loomis out there? They're not gonna do
No Loomis, no lumber.
And if you can find it, where's the park?
I said I would donate.
So do you want to talk to him, ask
Yes.
him if that would work?
I'll let him know that you guys want to do one and we'll shoot for October 9th.
Is that okay?
That's fine, that's fine,
That's fine.
that's good. That's very good. Okay, anybody else? Have anything else? Okay, the announcements.
So we have planning and zoning at 4:30 tomorrow night. The ICIP hearing on the 19th at 5 p.m. Regular board meeting will be following that meeting at 5:30. And a special board meeting, if you guys want to set up for September, right around the 9th, give or take a day or two.
That's fine. Okay, go to the board comments, trustee Buck?
Yeah, I was Saturday at it was the second triathlon that the village hosted. And I would like to thank our little road crew that helped them line it out, set up the pylons and everything. They got some weights for them to hold down their little canopies. I want to thank the police department for escorting them and watching for the safety of it. I'd like to thank our pool crew that took care of the final lap of it, and everybody enjoyed themselves. It was very, very nice. It was the second annual. We're hoping to have this yearly and hoping to grow. They were talking about doing all kinds of different things that are going to add to it. And we had a few more than the first year. So it was very nice to have people in and about the village. It was really nice. And I just wanted to thank everybody for helping the kids that participated, the adults and everybody. And I thank everybody else that's doing a decent job, and hang in there, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Brambla.
I'd just like to say thanks for the guys that are out there mowing and weeding, and I know the mosquitoes are terrible. I know myself, so they have to really bear with it. So, but they're all doing a good job, especially since it's rained and we have more weeds than we know what to do with. But we do appreciate the rain. Thank you.
Trustee Lopez.
I also feel the same way. Hopefully, Mr. Gray, we can find a resolution to the problems of the drainage. And thanks to all the employees and stuff. That's it.
I do wanna thank our employees that with the way things are now, they're doing amazingly. They're doing an amazing job. And also, Mr. Gray, there's hopefully we'll really try our best to find a solution to that problem, and we'll get with Wilson and see what it is, and how we can do it. But I too hope that we find a solution to your problem, because it didn't seem like we're trying, but we are. Certain times we just have a limit to what we can do, but we'll try. We'll keep trying. And with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Bramblo, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Baca.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Bramblo.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second again, and
This
Chris
meeting's
never
adjourned.
showed up.